So I think I'm just gonna have to go with what it is.
I think so. I
I'm
don't.
in a
Man, this
closet.
platform is not great. But hey, we're live. Um, Hi. So I'm Emperor Wang, coming at you from Studio 304. I'm here with Being Becky, aka
Hello.
Becky. How are you doing,
I'm doing good.
Becky? You are the first guest I've ever had on a live, and
Oh,
there's a
thank you for
reason
having
that you're the first. I wanted you because I thought there was something very unique about your channel. You just had this vibe, and if you don't mind me saying, you kind of remind me of one of my aunts.
me. Which is funny because my name on YouTube used to be Aunt Laura.
Oh, interesting. Yes.
Yes.
Um, my aunt is she's dearly departed. She's a bit older than you, obviously, but you remind me of a younger version of her a lot, and that's kind of why I wanted to have you on. And
Well, that's very nice.
oh, awesome. Also, I feel like I owe you an apology because I sent you one of my postcards, and I meant to include 2 stickers, and I mailed yours out kind of at the same time I mailed a few others, and I was doing like an assembly line kind of
Yeah.
deal, and for some reason I didn't put in the stickers, so I will make that up to you. So they're on the way.
Hey, no worries. Stuff happens, right?
Yeah.
Good check.
It does. I had a few questions for you, if that's okay.
Sure.
Number one, what is it like being Becky?
It's changing all the time. So right now I'm I guess kind of learning that myself because I'm being Becky now. I've had a lot of life changes in the last few years. So I'm kind of rediscovering Becky myself. But it's pretty fun doing that. I now live in a really beautiful place and I'm having a lot of fun exploring.
You moved
And
to Florida somewhat recently,
yes, December of 23. So a little more than a year I've been here.
but you also lived there earlier in your life. Is that correct?
Yes, when I was young, I think I left Florida. I had to be about 10 years old.
Hmm.
And it's
How were your memories of Florida from those days?
they're wonderful. That's why I'm here again. I'm about 30-minute drive from where I used to live as a kid. And we lived right, I could see the ocean from my yard, walked on I just loved the weather and I was very outdoorsy. And there was a lot of really great memories. So I've
You know,
always wanted to come back.
I grew up in Alabama before I came to Hawaii. I lived into young adulthood in Alabama, and we would um, pretty frequently go to Florida. I feel like there's like 3 Floridas. There's the Florida that is basically lower Alabama. There is swamp Florida, and then there is like tropical paradise Florida. And
Mm,
based on your channel, it seems like you live in like the tropical paradise part of Florida. Like you got
practically.
manatees and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Practically. I'm not
Where exactly in
really
Florida
South
do you live?
Florida. I am just south of Daytona Beach.
Awesome.
About
And
20-minute drive to Daytona Beach. I can
and it's
practically hear the
it's
racetrack.
February now, so what's the weather like where you
Well,
are?
interesting. The past week it's been in the 80s and really beautiful, which I thought that was a little warm for February. But today we had a thunderstorm and rain. And for the first time since I've been here, we had a thunderstorm that actually decreased the humidity and the temperature dropped like 20 degrees. So right now it's like 60.
So
It's
that is
chilly,
cold to you, right?
but comfortable. Yeah. Well,
Huh.
I came here from upstate New York. So no, right now up there, it's really cold. This is
Speaking
really
of
beautiful.
speaking of your prior life in upstate New York, I think you mentioned in a comment somewhere that you are retired from the DMV. Is that what you did in upstate New York?
Yes, I worked as a DMV clerk for about 20 years.
How was that?
It's just like what everyone says about DMV. Actually, I worked in a small office. I was in, not in a big city. So it was a small office, so it could have been a whole lot worse. Um, I really enjoyed the people that I worked with most of the time, but that type of customer service wears on you after a little while. Took me a few years, but I finally realized that I was becoming the stereotypical DMV clerk slowly but surely, and I didn't like that, so had to go.
Well, unlike a lot of people, I don't hold any negative stereotypes against government workers. But
Mm.
I would be curious to know, is there anything that sticks out in your mind? Do you have like a story of the worst customer interaction from your time at the DMV?
Hmm. Uh, yes, there was a gentleman who had a lot of drinking and driving offenses, and he was driving without a license, and his license was suspended. And he was rather threatening, and he was screaming at me. And he said, "So you're telling me that now I have to drive without a license?" And I said, "No, sir. I'm not telling you you have to. I'm telling you you don't have a license." And he ended up getting escorted out by my supervisor because he got rather belligerent.
Did you guys have security or police on hand, or if something popped off, would you guys have to just handle that yourselves and
Yeah.
call?
No, we didn't have any security like that. We had cameras, and that was about the extent of it. So
Hmm.
yeah, it came to a point where I kind of didn't feel safe there because we were wide open. We used to have active shooter drills, like a lot of people have, and it just wasn't the best scenario and the best setup for that kind of thing. So
Isn't it insane that we have active shooter drills the way we have like tornado or fire drills nowadays?
yeah,
Like, why is that a hazard?
I know. Yes, it is strange. It's strange, and it's pretty sad.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad. The world used to be a lot safer place. When I was a kid living in Florida before, like I said, I could see the ocean from my backyard. I could walk to the beach and go to the beach by myself. I walked to school by myself. Kids can't do that kind of thing anymore.
No, not at all. No, it's very sad. I feel sometimes like our society is backsliding.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
Um, so are you married? Do you have kids? What's the home situation?
I am divorced, but sort of dating my ex-husband.
Okay.
And sort of. He still lives in New York, but he actually came and visited back in December. Anyway, I have two grown sons, both unmarried, no grandchildren.
No
Which is
grandchildren yet.
no, that's not going to be happening, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay
I'm
with it.
I'm positive that my parents were convinced they were never going to be grandparents because both me and my big brother are child free, and we're in our 40s. He's like deep 40s, and then out of nowhere, my little brother, who was late 30s, he had twin girls.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, and they're still
Oh,
very young. They're very sweet girls, but
that's
it's
neat.
never too late. And they were much. My parents were much older than you are now when they suddenly became grandparents. So it's never too late.
Yeah, never say never, I guess. It's
Yeah.
not looking likely, but
So now
that's
that you're in
okay.
Florida, have you found a local coin shop to go to?
I have. In fact, I have. There are a few here where I used to live. I had to drive almost an hour to find anybody halfway decent. But there's a coin shop in Daytona that I go to. They're very
Which one? You want to give them a shout out?
sure. They're called Daytona Coins.
What do you
Daytona
like about
Coins.
them?
Well, they're very personable. It's a smaller shop run by a man and his son, and they, right from the first time I walked in, they were just very easy to talk to, very helpful. They don't quite have some of the selection that I'd like, uh, but if I ask for something, they will let me know. I ordered the gold backs from them because he's a dealer
Mm.
of the gold backs, and it took a while for them to come in. And I kept calling. I'd call every week. Okay, do you have them yet? And when they came in, he gave me a call and put some stuff aside for me. So they're just very nice folks.
The goldback thing seems to be spreading kind of like wildfire. I thought it was fringe at first, and now so many states have adopted them that they've sort of popped up on my radar. I don't think the state I live in, Hawaii, is likely to issue one anytime soon,
Mm.
but I think a lot of states are going to jump on board, especially during the next 4 years, and it's becoming kind of like an appealing sort of thing, you know.
It is. I was happy when Florida, adopted them because obviously I live here and I can actually spend them. Um, there's a lot of places that you can use them. In fact, the dealer that I go to, the LCS I go to, he's been enrolling businesses to accept them, and so I think they're very very popular. And at
Are you
one
able
time,
to
I
get
went to
them from ATMs? Is that how that works?
I I think there might be one or two ATMs in the state of Florida, not near me. He actually orders them from Goldback,
Hmm.
and that's how he gets them.
And I think Florida is the first gold-backed state to issue like a $2
Yeah,
gold-back. Is that correct?
yeah. There's three denominations that Florida has that are exclusive to Florida right now: the 1/2, the 2, and the 100.
Mm.
The 100 Goldback.
So,
Yeah.
of the Florida goldbacks, which one is your favorite, personally?
For as far as the imaging goes, I really like the 1/2. I like this 1/2 the best. I don't know. Can you even see that? It's got a horse on it. It's actually called a Florida cracker horse. Never heard of such a thing.
A
It's a
cracker
Florida,
horse.
it's a Florida cracker horse.
I mean, I've heard of like a crack whore, but I don't know what a cracker horse is.
No, not the same thing.
Yeah, okay.
The same thing. Can you even see that? I don't know.
That
Anyway,
looks
I
good.
think I like that one the best. Yeah, I like that one the best, image wise. I'm going to be giving that one away on my channel sometime soon.
Would you consider yourself more of a stacker or a collector, or if both, like, what's the breakdown?
Hmm. I'm more of a collector than a stacker because that's how I started. And I really just like all of the history of the coins. So I like to stack 90% silver. Uh, but this is where like I said earlier, my life is changing. My children have no interest at all in any of this stuff. So, and I feel like I want to go more towards the stacking side just for wealth preservation, as I'm getting older. And so I'm sort of, but I can't get away from the type coins and, I just can't stop.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Um, I got into this uh, for investment purposes, which means I got in on the stacking side. But
Hmm.
I've always been a collector at heart. I've always collected things, you know?
Yeah.
So I can't just like dispassionately stack bullion because I'll see like a numismatic piece and then that collector part of me is like, oh, that's cool, you know. So I'm both. I'm both a collector and a stacker, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
I am too. So I've sort of decided that I'm going to still collect numismatic items, and I'm gearing more toward key date coins and that sort of thing. And I'll still always collect the 90% junk silver constitutional. And but I've completed sets that I want to complete, and except for my typeset album, I would like to complete that. And then I'm mostly going to stacking aside from that.
What is your favorite piece that you own?
Hmm. The favorite piece that I own. It's this. This like we this is the 2019 Apollo 11 50th anniversary. If I can get it out of its case. It's only been out once. This is the last birthday gift my father ever gave me. He gave me this. It's concave. I'm sure you've seen this before. Actually, I shouldn't say that. Have you seen this before? Ah, this is where I struggle. So, too much light. Go away, light. It's got the footprint on the moon. There it is. Ha!
That
Footprint
is,
on the moon. See how it's concave?
yes, that's beautiful. How
Isn't
it's
that
galloped.
beautiful?
What
It's a
year was that
silver
issued?
dollar. 2019.
So
So,
your
for
father
sentimental reasons. Yeah, can you see that?
your father worked for the Kennedy Space Center, is that correct?
He worked at the Kennedy Space Center. He was actually employed by General Electric.
Oh,
They were a big contractor for the space program. He worked on the zero defects program. GE did a lot of analyzing of the spacecraft and developing parts of the spacecraft.
that is
They
amazing.
actually they actually developed the plastic that was used in the helmets, and it was they used it to record radiation exposure, the type of plastic that they used. So yeah, he worked for GE, but he worked at Kennedy Space Center. He
Still,
was there.
that's amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. He was there for the Apollo program, and he worked with the Mercury Fives.
So for the
Mercury.
so for the record, the moon landing was definitely not faked, and you're witness to that.
In my estimation, no, it was not faked.
I agree. I agree.
Obviously, I wasn't there.
It was definitely not faked. Sorry for bringing that up. So, did you live when before you left Florida as a kid? Did you live around the same part of Florida that you currently live now?
Yeah, I can. I'm about a half-hour drive from where we lived when I was a kid. In fact, I drove by my old house.
Was moving back a struggle? Do you have like a support network there? Is there anybody or are you?
I have a really good friend. I have a very good friend who actually sort of initiated this move. It was crazy. I sold my house in New York and almost all of my belongings, and I shipped boxes down to Florida to my friend here, and then packed everything else that I could fit in my car and drove down with my dogs and stayed with her for a little while and started all over. So,
wow.
Yeah. Yes.
That took a lot of bravery.
Or something. I just up and said bye, see you, bye. Retired and sold my house and moved all within 3 weeks.
I think that's admirable. I mean, I sort of like fantasize about doing stuff like that all the time. Like, why don't I just, disappear?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I've also always been somewhat of a gambler, and growing up, I moved around a lot. My family moved around a lot, and so I kind of think I have a little bit of the gypsy in me, But yeah, it is good to be back here. There's nothing like going out in the dark at night, and it's warm and beautiful. I love it.
Bit of a rambler, eh?
I guess you could say that. Yes. Yeah.
Do you want to tell us about your dogs?
Sure. They're whippets. They have, one of the other things I did was I taught dog obedience classes and agility and scent work classes for about 20 years. And so they've done a lot of stuff. They've done racing, they've done agility. It's a passion of mine, a hobby.
Did they move with you from the Northeast, or did you get them when you came to Florida?
No, they came with me. They came with me.
How are they like in Florida?
They like it. They don't like the cold so much, so they used to have to wear coats. They like running in the sand, and they like it. They like it here.
They used to wear like coats, actual coats?
Yes, because they're very whippets don't have a lot of body fat and short coat, and they like to be cozy and toasty warm. So my older one just turned 13, and the younger one's going to be 8 soon. Excuse me.
So, my wife and I had a cat that we got when the cat was about 8. We fostered it, her originally, but you know how that goes, and we ended up, it was our cat, and we had her since right after we were married, and she ended up living a pretty long life. And she recently passed away right around this past Christmas, and it was
Oh,
pretty devastating because
it is.
my wife and I live in kind of like a small place, and this cat Maxie was just kind of like our rock. She was a constant presence. She was always around. She was a member of the household, and it was very
Yeah,
disturbing when she passed
yeah.
away.
It's very upsetting. It's really hard to lose because they do become part of your family.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Well, so I had an outline of questions I wanted to ask you that I had sketched out. The last one, um, what are you afraid of,
Huh.
or most afraid of?
Uh, I'm afraid of the dark.
Valid.
I don't know. I'm a little afraid of the way society is going now. Um, but I don't really have big fears. So I kind of just go with the flow and
I'm also afraid of the current direction of society. There's lots of red flags blowing in the wind that haven't seen before in my
yeah,
lifetime.
yeah,
And
or mine.
yeah,
And I hate to say this, but I'm almost glad I don't have grandchildren. You know,
my wife and I have also said that maybe it's a good thing we're not raising somebody at the moment.
yeah, that's it's sad, but I can't even imagine raising young children now with you know I can't imagine what that's like. It was different when my kids were younger. I mean, you're almost the same age as my kids.
Yeah,
So,
it was different. I remember I used to take long walks in my little town, and like random strangers on their porch would be like, hey, come over, have a glass of sweet tea or whatever.
hmm,
And
right,
I don't think it's like that anymore.
right. Yeah, my boys used to be able to ride their bikes, places, and I don't know. It's sad.
Well, I don't want to end it on a negative note. Is there anything upcoming on your channel that you want to plug?
And I'm trying to decide where to go next. I've been having fun stalking the osprey nest.
Yeah,
So
I saw that
that's
video.
been
That was
fun.
great.
I'm almost obsessed with them now. I find myself worrying about them, like in the storm today. Oh my gosh, what about the babies? Because they're just on top of a light post. So I really don't know. I'm probably gonna do a little bit more with my typeset album, and I don't know. How about you?
Um, I have a couple things coming up. I wanted to sort of get into Franks, whether French or Swiss. So I got this book to help me out because most of my stack is U.S. Mint stuff. So I've only recently started branching out into European stuff. Um,
Mm,
Anything beyond Britannia's. So I kind of wanted to get some more Franks. So I got
nice.
this, and to help me understand it. That's about it. Other than that, my only collecting goals for this year will be probably one of the DC Comics gold coins, and then I won't get a 2025 Platinum Eagle, but I will definitely get the 2025 Palladium Eagle.
Yeah.
That's my jam.
Nice.
And that's about it.
Nice. So I just wanted to show you, because we talked before about my father getting me involved with collecting.
Yes.
So this is a jar of pennies. I have a jar. They're all copper pennies. He has it labeled. They're 1959 and 61 to 69. So this jar and this little Tupperware tub of wheat cents are what's left of my father's penny collection that I haven't gone through yet. So, and yes, those moved with me from New York in my car.
We haven't sifted through those yet.
I have not looked through those yet. I did go through several other jars and containers, and I sold some wheat cents to some folks. And so those are still on my list of things to go through. I made a video a couple of years ago, after going through the jars and jars of, I had a box of jars that I thought was all pennies, and I was looking through that, and there was one jar that said silver on it. He labeled it silver, and it was a whole jar of mercury dimes, about half the size of this old coffee jar. Look at that. It's a coffee jar. It's instant coffee, $2.98.
Is that
Those
Folgers
pennies have been in
crystals?
there for a while. No, it's called kava.
Huh?
Instant coffee. It's a little scary because it says on here it's 90% acid neutralized. So I guess that's how they get rid of the caffeine. I don't know. Anyway, that was so that's something I have to look forward to.
That's
Looking
really
through all
cool. When
those
you sift through them, maybe make a video so we can all watch.
pennies. Maybe I don't see well enough, but
My
I'll have to practice my camera.
my vision's pretty bad too.
Yeah.
And then I wear sunglasses and I make it even worse when I film.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
Becky, thank you very much for taking the time to film with me. I know it's getting pretty late where you are.
Sorry,
yeah.
she has things to say. Well, thank you so much for inviting me. This was really fun.
We should do it again.
We'll do it again sometime, sure.
Yeah, maybe pick a different platform that isn't fraught with technical difficulties. I don't know about this StreamYard.
Finally
stuff.
got it to work anyway. I think that was, I don't know. I just was.
It's not very user friendly on my end either.
No.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll figure out something else then.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Anyway, thank you, Becky. Have a great night. Everybody who's watching in the chat, also have a great night. And we'll see y'all again soon.
All right. Good night.
Good night.